Don't know if that needs the same respect here as an overall first pick, even though it's been a strong pick for Faker. What does he want is a very intriguing question, amplified by the blue side J-Spec.
Well, Galio had that moment where he lost 8 games in a row, and we were saying, well, are we not going to see Galio anymore? We're going to see him still a lot more, as he gets first picked very often nowadays.
Galio's best friend, though, the Callista that you want to rip him away from, is banned. So does this mean you have the invitation to leave the Galio and find another advantage somewhere else? Zoe, Lissandra, so mid lane matchups are up there. Lots of stuff is really open, and to me, this is more denial than actually power draft for BDD in particular. I love him on the Zoe, for example, in normal terms, but they're going to rip away the guaranteed blow one person up duo of Galio Lissandra, and let's see how SKT will react.
Well, we saw a bunch of Vayne in the last series, but SKT not going to go for it for now, as Zoe will be picked into the Lissandra already after KT showed that card.
That means that KT did not want SKT to have Lissandra because they have played the other side and BDD's won the other side of the matchup. So expected matchup, but the shoe on the other foot based on what happened previously. And this is interesting. First round Kai'Sa. I think SKT's first rounding 80 carry. 80 carry support's not a rare thing to do, but I think they want to force an aggressive Draven now, otherwise they'll be banned.
Yeah.
And they get the Draven now. We called for it. We get it, baby.
83.3%, 5-1. As, well, the guy who used to be a Draven 1 pick gets his pick. And we're going to have a fun bot lane, Papa.
We definitely are. We knew when we saw the Kai'Sa, it was SKT saying, you have Draven now or Draven is banned. That was the duality they had to deal with. No first round Draven ban means it may not be a Vayne, but we'll take Draven, a rarer pick in Korea in spite of the win rate we saw, always picked for certain occasions. Now, KT Rolster are in a dilemma because we saw Griffin beat this same strategy of first round Draven against a strong team. And the way they did that was vertical jungling and a tempo jungle lead. So either KT have to hold their jungle pick to last and blind pick a top laner for Smeb, or they have to engineer a spot where they can pick a jungler that doesn't get counterpicked by SKT. So that's a tricky one. Jarvan is the obvious one for Clid, and I think Score. So let's see if the Jarvan's contested at all, but the Olaf ban tells you they want to be able to draft the jungle pick at Gangos.
Nocturne taken off the board once again. See a lot of Zoe, Nocturne, Galio, especially out of Griffin, but not going to let SKT into that path as well.
Here we go. What do KT decide to pick? Do they hold top lane and stop getting Riven, for example, and take the jungler like we're outlining? Jarvan is up, and very, very obvious a choice to take at Score's pick. And you need something bold, like something like Graves from Clid to really punish it with what's open. So that is what KT set up for and banned for, so definitely like them following through. Would Clid dare to go something like Graves that was buffed on this patch, or will he just try to fight fire with fire and go Rek'Sai? Both of them understandable choices, even though Graves has been out of the meta for so long.
Thinking about an Aatrox here as well. Could see that hop into the jungle for Clid if he wants to hop onto that pick. Will be selected anyway, so what will be the last one?
We get to wait and see, because like you say, could definitely be a blind pick jungler or blind pick top laner. So, Xin Zhao would be, of course, trying to fight early, not allowing Draven to have a combat advantage. Rek'Sai would be balancing things a bit more, but still erring towards the early game. And with the amount of guaranteed crowd control, Rek'Sai having that unburrow is another thing to set up Kai'Sa, potentially hitting down those dominoes, but that's after a Draven laning phase. So, KT Rolster, they put the Draven in, and it's going to be the Aatrox counter. It's going to be Smeb's Fiora. This is a pick that definitely fits the player, but it's a pick that Khan knows so well. And Smeb in the past has drafted Fiora in decent spots and poor spots and not performed on the pick. It's actually one of his split pushers that's tripped him up. I famously remember Kesper Cup 2017, where they left open Ornn and said, I've got the counter pick Fiora, back when Ornn was broken strong, and Smeb got crushed in the matchup. Yeah. So It's a very good matchup for Fiora in the 1v1, but it's one that Smeb gets in his own head sometimes. And you have to think the jungler wants to be playing bot side around the Draven and not babysitting Fiora at any moment.
Certainly feels that way as Gango does get his pick. I took a look at the actual games that were played on the Draven. Ghost has played 5 of them. Teddy has played 1. Gango actually hasn't played Draven so far.
He's had a lot of Draven bans and he hasn't played that many games. So we're finally seeing his re-debut Draven out of the LCK, never playing in LCK despite playing in Masters and other professional games in 2014 in Korea on Samsung White. He's back now. He's finally showing us his Draven. It's late, but the best foot forward for Gango should be Draven.
Should be. We'll see if he can actually pilot that to a victory here in Game 1, and especially if KT took Game number 1, then really anything could happen. I said that I predicted a lot of 2-0s this week. Well,
so far correct.
Yes, wasn't expecting it to go that way in Game number 1, but can it happen again? Another unexpected victory. Smeb on the Fiora, Gango on the Draven. They're not playing safe anymore. These underdog teams are coming out to fight, and I can't wait to see if it works. Well, we're on the T1 side, on the SKT side, and their tier was massive. KT's one, actually suffering a little bit here as the second team.
And it is, again, almost 15 years to the day. The first Telecom war happened. That was in StarCraft Brood War, May 5th, 2004. Technically, it is the last time SKT and KT will meet, given that SKT will be renaming to T1. Like I said on Twitter, the soul of the matchup is the same. The rivalry extends, but the rivalry, the Telecom War name, is based on the fact that SKT and KT are by far the 2 biggest mobile phone service providers in Korea. So there will be a subtle change on the SKT side. I'm really interested about the Draven, because obviously that's the pick that is banned in other regions in the first round, that is left open more often. They not only lost once, but I love how Griffin on the red side played against a blue side Draven. They had Galio in the first round with their AD carry, which I believe was Lucian, and then the moment they saw Draven on the blue side, they instantly locked in Braum, didn't have a Galio flex, and punished from level 1. Vertical jungler around the bot side, got both the Draven summoners. Draven never got to have the comfortable laning phase. This time, KT have the Braum, the level 1 is a lot more passive, and this should be some breathing room for Gango and Snowflower to do the thing that Draven is oh so known for, lane domination.
So funny to see the difference in the Lissandra play, as everybody was calling for a Lissandra ban against Fly. It's the only champion that he really gets much success on. And then we turn it over to BDD, who is 0-4 on the pick. Definitely not a good look, but we'll see if he can pick up that first win here in this matchup.
That's why you and I said it felt more like a denial Lissandra than, in fact, a power pick Lissandra on the side of KT. And when you see, you're going to go Draven, and you now have someone who can't get in your face and contest you reliably, it makes sense, right? If you're going to play the Draven comp, you don't want Lissandra in the hands of Faker to potentially pick away the Draven. So it flows, but the cost of getting the Draven has led to some issues when now you have Fiora, who should win if no junglers come, but with a target on her back, because you know Draven would prefer to get those catch-ins to ensure that Draven gets ahead. Because Draven from ahead, Draven from behind, very different predicaments.
Clid ultra aggressive here on the Rek'Sai, went in and spotted Score at the blue. Took both Scuttle Crabs and then went into the jungle of Score. Didn't find him. Was looking for him specifically. Now looking for a play in the mid lane, but BDD's positioning is good enough to get away from that one.
Really low kill pressure in the 2v2. I want to note, you would have noticed, it's press the attack, Rek'Sai. We saw this in the LPL when they were stuck on patch 9.2 for a long time. You would have presumed only Conqueror, but a second Conqueror nerf after the hotfix on 9.5, and Glid is going for a way to just inject early damage, and if you don't press tab and notice it, that bonus damage for the ally can be so important for the 2v2. And in a game where Fiora can snowball out of control, Draven can snowball out of control, the first skirmish around those picks with the Rek'Sai involved might actually be pivotal in which way the game goes.
Score spotting Clid walking through to the scuttle and then coming into the mid lane and says he probably didn't take most of the bottom side of his jungle. Goes in, gets a bunch of those camps, isn't going to rubber band the Raptors, most importantly, which I find to be very nice. I feel like LS would be happy about that too.
I think it's, in this particular scenario, an interesting one. Yes, Rek'Sai has the skirmishing advantage, but I give Jarvan, Lissandra, and their ability to get places faster the invasion advantage, and you have a Draven bot lane. So bot red side jungle is the jungle side that I would imagine Skull would invade around, and Jarvan has an ability to escape there. So I wouldn't have mind the rubber band to be able to play bot side. If this just means he wants to play top side, I worry for the Draven. So we can only know in hindsight, it is an intentional choice, like you say, made by the Jarvan. But if you play towards that, then you're playing top side, and Papa doesn't like it.
Kind of a wonky lane situation here for Gango. You'll notice that he was missing 2 of the minions, and you point out on the minimap that Jarvan's all the way up at his Krugs, and that Rek'Sai could certainly be around here, so they were playing very safe for just a couple of moments as the lane was pushing, just to make sure they didn't get caught out in a wonky gank time.
But actually, at the highest level, it tells SKT everything. It tells SKT that Jarvan's not bot side, because if he is, they're obviously going to greed for autos. It's Draven, right? He's always going to be looking to reset lane. He'll never allow a freeze to happen when he has spinning axes going. So it instantly told SKT, and the comms Mata would have said 100%. Go over the tape if we ever get it. That's going to be Jarvan top side. They knew that from the freeze, so they're giving information, and it's around an area where KT should be strong.
Does feel that way. Our observer did point out that the one little popcorn chicken is still alive, as nobody did get that one, so that camp going to not be rubber branded. Clid looking for the first play of the game, also has Zoe with Faker coming around
They
here.
know Jarvan can't be there.
They spot him, and in we go. Smeb in a bunch of trouble, gets flashed upon, does riposte and flashes at the last moment, but it's not going to matter as Faker does pick up first blood in the top lane.
And that is a squeaky clean dive, and it's something SKT, like we mentioned, should be complimented for on their LCK Spring 2019 performance that we didn't say about Griffin. SKT are very good at punishing in the early game, and the control ward was what I was trying to gesture to, Valdez, because it spotted score so early. They knew from about 3 seconds before this replay, the score couldn't be there. They've got the Aatrox ult, so this dive never fails.
Riposte not on time, as Clid is too fast on that one, gets the knock-up, and Aatrox with his ultimate is able to tank it all up.
And insult upon injury, Smeb flashes as well too late, so he actually plays that way worse than expected. And unfortunately, this is where I got a bit skeptical of the Fiora, because it just felt like KT had a plan, and then Smeb said yes, and Fiora counters Aatrox, and I'm a Fiora player, and that's not wrong, but it complicates what was previously a pretty simple game plan from the side of KT Rolster, and now score kind of needs to be top and bot at the same time at all moments, and SKT have an information lead so far this game.
Look at Kind's items too after the dive, gets Ninja Tabi in a call. He's like, yeah, okay, buddy, you want to pick Fiora into me? Good counter matchup, lol.
And the nameplate's just so on there,
yeah,
because that's Khan against Smeb, two legendary top laners who play for lane when they can. The disrespect call is such a fun way to go. And he's already gone into the grasp, and that was something we didn't talk about, but grasp from Khan tells you, well, this is a tricky matchup. I'm going to probably have to play alone. He got the help, and he has the lane insurance keystone with the Ninja Tabi to join in. Ain't no solo kills coming anytime soon.
Clid adds to his first blood percentage, by the way. Picks up another engagement up in the top side, and now looking for presence down in the bottom side. Wants to stop the Draven lane presence. Comes in, clears out a ward. He's level 6. They know about his damage, especially with red buff. That means that Gango and Snowflower are going to have to back away and lose a little bit of presence there.
I'm so scared if I'm a KT fan looking at the minimap. Look how much information SKT have and how little KT have, and Tremor Sense advantage is on the side of SKT. They are running this map, and wherever they decide action is happening, they're going to play it. Why do you transfer all your power bot side? Now there's a whole lot of darkness, a permanent Nocturne ultimate for Gango to play aggressive around, and that means that Kai'Sa is opening up a CS advantage over the Draven.
Yeah, 85 on 72 right now with the lane pushing into Gango, so he can catch up a little bit. Thankfully, KT and Score and the rest of them do realize that that happens. They go down, put down a couple of control wards, open up a bit of the map, and gain themselves a little bit of vision here.
So BDD, he's on the roam champion. Well, you don't have river control, so the roam champion is being outranged and outtraded. That's what Zoe does in the Sandra matchup, even more reliably than something like the LeBlanc matchup we've been focusing on a little bit more intently. Gango is trying to freeze on Draven rather than trying to pressure. This is where Score needs to come in. Super experienced player that's always been praised for his pathing. They need to control something, and the sweeper comes in late, so they actually control exactly way less information than they want to. And SKT say, well, we're going to use this for a back from Mata. He can come back with a couple of control wards, and when the coast is clear, we'll have a vision advantage again.
It's really unfortunate for Score. He spotted the entire way. They're pinging and knowing exactly where the jungler is. Khan gets to just sit up in the top lane, push his lead with the call that he has, have a bit of fun in there.
And now you get leads like this where Score's not getting anything. Mata's freshly shopped, Klid's around, doesn't know about the positioning. Score gets the bad information. Eventually you assume he'll have to disengage, but BDD does respond first. Watching the top side, bad recall timing for Smeb. TP down, Khan has TP advantage and is racking up the turret plates. Music to the ears of any Aatrox player, and LS no doubt frustrated that Aatrox coming out pretty unscathed in a pretty hard counter matchup.
Well, it helps when your team has vision advantage and the Rek'Sai Zoe go for the first roam on a Fiora that needs a couple of items to get ahead, and he gets that Aatrox online with the cull. So, having a bit of fun. Looks like that was 2 plates now up in the top side that are down. The only other plate that's down on the map was in the mid lane, where BDD was able to pick that up with Demolish after Faker went for that roam for the first blood.
You see Score having to be in really awkward position. This should never happen. He's looking for a Jarvan proactive gank against Cleanse Zoe in the mid lane, rather than playing top or bot, which are the matchups that are favored for KT. However, Faker's on a ward.
Okay, I mean, he's on a ward. He's going to flash away. In comes the Draven ultimate, trying to get that damage down, and they will. 4 members able to group up here, and even Gango from downtown trying to get a little piece of the action.
Exactly. 5 people have to be involved to get the single kill. The turret plate is nice to BDD. Now, obviously, Faker recalling on the ward is the big presenting problem, but even from there, he was able to do some outplays. Unfortunately, just like Uzi in Season 2, the question is, why were you there originally?
He has the Rek'Sai nearby, and he's like, okay, looks like BDD left lane. I should be safe here. Let's go for a greedy back. I'm going to hold that thought as Gango takes a ton of damage. Teddy versus Gango, who wins Kai'Sa over Draven. Seems like Teddy with the first item, Stormrazor, is going to win. I
was going to bring it up. Thank you that you did, but we'll hold off for it for now. Smeb is pretty obviously showing his jungler's top side. Klid gets that information. If Score moves, but no, he's unborrowed, doesn't know yet.
Oh, TP's even coming in here as Klid, kind of an awkward position for him. Does he join? Looks like maybe they're just going to sacrifice Khan as he has World Ender and gets away from 3 people very easily.
And with the information and Mata roaming up, they'll get the Rift held under the noses of KT as well. So this time they invest just as much as they did to get 1 kill, and they don't even get that kill, Valdez.
Yeah. Well, they give it a try, but the Aatrox makes it work, as now Aatrox is in the bottom lane without a ward, but he's going to do a bunch of damage to Snowflower. Will go down in the end. No ward, no ult. That's what I meant, and 3-on-1 this time gets the kill, but meanwhile in the top lane, first blood turret goes to SKT.
Yeah, big tempo lead to SKT. They'll get the secondary charge as well. That is going to be match ending. But getting Draven something going in the bot side, getting in the turret plates and also kill involvement. Can't get a cash in, frustratingly. That is not picked up by the Draven. But that turret was, I believe, full health, and now 3 plates are gone. So you are being able to take a lot of turret damage onto the side of SKT. Maybe even the turret. We'll wait and see. Kai'Sa a long way away, so it should go down.
Smeb and Gango here going to split the gold and call it even. Like about 255 to each of them alongside the plate as, yeah, backing on a ward. Faker got in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Klid was unborrowed as this play started as well. I don't think it would have changed anything, but just an observation. Faker really nice on the photo jump timing there, but as we know, all good things have to come to an end. It was, in fact, all the turret plates taken in one fell swoop. Khan with a pretty proactive TP. He doesn't feel like he's going to go down, but KT know he used his ult in Vision just a second before, so while it takes some extra shots, it was only ever going to be a 1-for-1 plus plates trade, which you'll take if you're getting the plates, and it's not even a 1-for-1, it's a 1-for-0 with the plates.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why KT, even though some of the early game was a little bit, you know, you want to avert your eyes, things looking pretty decent for them. They're up in gold, about 800 right now. They have vision control for now around that Mountain Drake. We'll see if they can secure that objective.
I'm angry about it, as I really want to talk about the Stormrazor rush. I know a lot of people's eyes are open to the fact that this was not the Kai'Sa build recently, but there's too much action being threatened right now, so I'm going to hold my tongue. I'll get to it when we get some time.
Well, you can see just how well KT are able to deny all vision and how SKT are trying to get that vision back. Mata gets slowed here, going for the big taunt. It's only going to really get Braum here. They're going to burst him down. But can KT do the damage back? They get the Rek'Sai, they get the Aatrox, and make it one more. The 3-for-1 deal here at the supermarket goes the way of KT. Gango takes a bunch of damage, but that should be the kills, and maybe the Dragon going KT's way.
There just wasn't teeth yet in front of or behind the huge dive. So while the Wombo CC looked good, the damage dealers at KT were in position, and Faker had to contend with just not being able to thread any damage in. There was a cash in there, importantly for Gango. I didn't see the amount, but no doubt a pretty decent one with how much farming he's had so far. And that's why suddenly the gold lead is just straight in front of your eyes, and it bursts out of nowhere.
It's massive, and I'm sure a lot of that is right onto Gango, who survives throughout the entire fight.
Now, if you can have damage behind this tall flash into Unburrow, it's big. And Snowflower dies, but from there, KT is in position. They have Braum dead, everything else in position. It's 1,019 altogether with the 300 gold.
Yeah.
Big cash in. The Bloodthirster rush, very open in the build. Gango no doubt liked. He went for the frontline Draven, and now frontline Draven goes for a build that's renewed. Bloodthirster to be a frontliner, and then IE rush. Do that crit damage early, and a confirmation on turret plates. The two in the mid lane, the difference between 5 in bot and 5 in top.
It's a big one. That's the demolish on Aftershock Lissandra. Able to get a couple of those when the Zoe left the lane, and the one time they got the kill as well onto Faker. So it's just a little bit of extra damage that puts KT about 2,500 gold ahead of them right now.
This Draven build reminds me of the last time Draven was meta, which was kind of Season 2, Season 3. I remember Aframu playing a lot of pro play Draven when he was still an AD carry. Bloodthirster Last Whisper, when items were different, then we had some Trinity Force on the Draven, but the big thought was when you went Bloodthirster Last Whisper, and kind of the same here, you don't have real attack speed in the build because only from your W you're getting attack speed. However, if you catch every axe, you blow people up, and if you have 25% crit and crit twice, you blow people up safely with Bloodthirster IE. So it's just a different build where you're much more about, if you ever have to drop your axes, losing out on huge amounts of effective DPS.
Sometimes it's all about those two first burst axes.
Oh yeah.
Kind of in the way of the Corki with that item that I forget again. I don't know what.
Rapid fire cannon.
Rapid fire cannon.
It sounds awesome to say.
I know.
Usually you just say rapid fire cannon. That's the name of the build. But you can also say rapid fire cannon, and it sounds pretty good too.
It's a big fire cannon, shoots rapidly, and yeah, kind of in that sense. You know, you throw out a couple of axes in the face of a Kai'Sa, and you crit once. It's like, well, okay, see you later, Kai'Sa. You don't exist anymore.
And again, you high roll with RNG, and people die really fast if you get a double crit. Unlikely to, with how the crit system works in League of Legends. It does have the burden of if you miss crit 3 times, you are much more likely to crit the 4th time. It's not an independent event each time. Smeb, even though he's fallen behind and should be further ahead in this matchup, remember he'll eventually reach an item timing that Aatrox can't match. And this is with Draven getting the late injection to actually be pretty powerful, earlier than the laning phase might have suggested.
You can see Khan still hasn't cashed out that call that he got earlier on in the lane after the first blood.
Valdez, your job is to tell me when the coast is clear to talk about the Kai'Sa.
I think it's okay now. We don't really have Zoe around, and really the only action is in the top side.
Objectives also, some minutes to spawn. So, Stormrazor Kai'Sa wasn't a thing after Stormrazor changed, because Stormrazor became thought of as a building block item. Mainly because the actual selfish stats were nerfed quite a lot, and it was all about the synergy with the energized effects. So what I saw from Viper in solo queue, and I got to ask him about, was going for Fleet Footwork, Stormrazor Rush. After you got 5 AD and 5 attack speed, the item is just more gold efficient because you got more free stats with no shift in the item. And the big thing is, your Fleet Footwork procs, you do 50 magic damage and have a slow, because you start with an energized effect. The curious thing is that Teddy has gone Stormrazor start and didn't go Fleet Footwork, so he can't actually proc the energized effect in the early game until he buys energized item. That's Unbreakable should do some work here. And also, the other takeaway home is that you take home message is you have to go Doran Blade, as with Stormrazor is in terms of AD. If you go Doran Shield or sell the Doran Blade, you don't get the 100 AD until around level 12, as I found out in solo queue testing the build. So that's an important wrinkle there. But Doran's Blade start, Stormrazor, and then when you have the pickaxe and the recurve bow, you have and Berserker's Greaves, you have the 100 to evolve your Q&E.
Always test your builds is part of that, as Exhaust has to be blown here by Faker. Don't worry, you got that one for free. Just able to poke out a little bit. As we talked about Smeb, the early game a little bit rough. He gets first blooded, but then he picks up a kill, and now he's doing a lot to just push ahead in that lane and dominate the Aatrox.
Right now, if you started at 20 minutes, you'd assume the early game went differently than it really did, where SKT, in spite of having some losing side lanes, was winning those. And then a team fight happened and it was won by KT. But now at 20 minutes, it's like the game went to plan for KT. They get a do-over on what was a pretty wonky early game. And now we need to watch SKT find their punishments where they can, because we're getting closer and closer to the point where Fiora inevitably wins in the side lane, and then 4-1, the headaches begin for SKT, and they kind of need Zoe to pose the questions that stop KT from just rocking up to objectives with a pretty strong Draven and forcing SKT into a bad spot.
KT, even from ahead, still very cautious about coming in here and contesting the Mountain Drake right now. Yeah, they don't want to take any chances, especially against that Zoe.
They actually blow their Scrying Orb in spite of how strong the 4-man unit is here from KT. So, like you say, good sign that respect is being shown. But now with tunneling with a bit of an ARAM play.
This is the Braum here. I like how Faker takes angles to try to avoid the Unbreakable. Did it the first time, missed the second time, but you can see he thinks about his plays when he goes for them. And now SKT, speaking of that, they feel very nice to go for this one right now. But look at Fiora, going to be looking for that TP. See if he does go in here. Khan already in position. Scuttle Crab taken out here. Will Score go for the steal is the question. The answer is no.
TP is being invested.
TP comes in, and now they know that Smeb is right behind them. In goes Snowflower. Gonna get a really nice taunt, though, there from Mana. And Smeb, though, stays alive just barely for a little bit, but does go down. Mana, nice stopwatch in the backside. Khan trying to go 2v1. Gonna turn into a 4v1 as he's in a bit of trouble. Score trying to go in and get that slow. He does for now, and it looks like Aatrox is going to go bye-bye. But at least the Mountain Drake goes the way of SKT, but KT pick up 3 kills.
There was some rough moments there. The assist ping from Smeb was so real. He's like, guys, I'm actually coming. I committed my TP right at the end. They had to fight. The fight goes their way. But it's definitely a moment that might be turned against them, and now Khan actually gets some breathing room because he has TP advantage in the side lane. Yes, not the best matchup, but look at the assist ping on the minimap. That's Smeb saying, guys, I can't cancel this one. I'm coming in. And so they had to go for the all-in. Flash Braum doesn't find the maximum, but from there, Khan can't actually contest the backline as much as he wants to be able to. He gets Gengo to drop an axe, and Gengo doesn't have any mana, so they don't get full damage out of Draven. But Sandra passive starts the ball rolling, and from there, Faker just doesn't have a front line to put out damage.
Yeah, they're kind of zoned. All he said was nice.
There was actually a comment about Zoe poking, though. Think about Zoe poking at the end of it.
I'm going to block the Zoe smoke.
Nice.
That wasn't Score, though. That was from the team.
I'll assume Snowflower, but that was care of G-Sun. Thank you very much for that little interjection there. 2,500 damage kind of onto Aatrox. And this one outside of the AoE ult he was able to hit. BDD not going to face check Khan. Khan has a lot of things because he kind of needs them, right? He has to thrift shop an Executioner's Calling because both Fiora and Lissandra's healing can be relevant in the side lane. And there's some windows where Khan can do something to the Lissandra, but unlikely to actually have kill pressure unless he has kind of forever to make a very long chase. They changed the lane assignment, so BDD can contend. TP being down on Smeb is not actually relevant, given that Khan and BDD are shadowing each other.
Teddy thinking about making it interesting in the bot lane, but BDD playing it very safely down here. Not taking any risks. He doesn't really have much vision, so if he doesn't see one of the members in a lane farming, especially a Kai'Sa, he knows to back away.
Kai'Sa still no energized effect, so the Storm Razor definitely wouldn't be providing full value in this scenario. Still good, it's definitely better on this patch. We're trying something, but it's a little bit toothless from SKT.
Kind of a half-hearted flank there from Khan, as not quite able to make anything happen, as you mentioned.
Again, the Storm Razor does evolve well, so maybe it doesn't matter so much, but to me, I guess maybe the adjustment was made. Maybe after seeing Draven, it was if I don't take press the attack, I'm going to be struggling in lane. We won't even have an all-in effect. If I get a gank bot side, and you had to give up the Storm Razor synergy, and surely will come in later. But again, it's all about Storm Razor and Rageblade still providing those 100 stats. I know on PBE they're again thinking about changing Storm Razor around. Wait to see where it lands, but just want to give you guys the update, given that otherwise, if you're playing solo queue and you see a Storm Razor Kai'Sa, you assume they haven't played the game in a while.
I've seen it a little bit on the Korean solo queue ladder. A lot of the Korean players definitely very up-to-date and passionate about their League of Legends, trying to learn about all the latest builds and figuring it out as it does go.
Honestly, Kai'Sa's the champion that gets me in the practice tour the most because I need to know when the break-even point is. It's not just 100 AD in items, also based on your leveling and stuff like that. So always want to say if it's level 9 or level 12 because it can be so relevant with how much we fight early. Kai'Sa doesn't come online until level 12. Maybe that's too slow for how fast League of Legends is played, but level 9, definitely more comfortable. So need the Doran Blade in there was what we knew. It's different now. He's level 14, so he could sell the Doran Blade. Seems like QSS in the inventory. Zoe's poking, but SKT haven't had map control for quite a while. They had it lit up in the early game. But since that team fight went wrong, things are much more KT favored, and now you're face-checking Braum or Draven or Jarvan. Things get trickier for SKT in the side lane the moment the Fiora gets to lane against the Aatrox again.
Klid finds Smeb here. Not going to commit to anything really. Wants to back away, doesn't want to be choked off there towards the top side. And you can see once again Teddy trying to make things interesting down here.
The piggyback ganks that double TP members can do, but also the Kai'Sa in general is known for swooping in as possible. Lissandra that far away from a turret can be chased and killed. It's not mid lane where the Glacial Path is basically the entire lane, so is some kill threat if they're called in. They have the Executioner's Calling to not allow Self-ult to be the answerer, but you give away some Baron control for that. They don't want to risk it. Start of some attack speed coming through from Gango, and certainly Mountain Drake has no threat on a Draven with Bloodthirst.
He's just going to solo it down here. No real vision for the side of SKT as down it goes very fast. He can smite it himself.
In case you're wondering at home, about 310 Adoration stacks on the Draven right now since the last cash-in. So the payoff there. If you win the next team fight, yeah, that's almost full build Draven, right? At this point, getting closer and closer to it. 3 items done. Rapid fire cannon for the poking axes.
I remembered it that time. I was waiting for you to see if you were going to say it, but then I was going to let it happen, let it fly.
This has been a surprisingly good, what's the word, stabilization from KT. I think it's worth pointing out that it was because SKT kind of overfought a fight they didn't need to take, and then it ended up giving the lifeline to Gango and the rest of KT. I thought SKT were pretty flawless in the early game, but at the end of the day, we're coming off Griffin being 2-0'd by Genji and KT in the same predicament down the bottom. They can find a match win here. It feels like both the teams got bonus wins they just couldn't have even hoped for.
Yeah. Smeb going to be brought back as Khan's thinking about it, but it's level 16 to level 15. Generally not a moment where you're looking to fight, but Khan has other thoughts as he is very confident in that lane for now. Picked up his death stance And a lot of his team is nearby, down towards the bottom side.
I'm interested to see how Teddy plays towards his items. He's gone Hurricane, which as we know is about AoE teamfight damage. But you consider the fights he's opting into, Draven Axe, goodbye health bar. Lissandra threat, trying to get out of there with a cleanse. Fiora gets on top of your Jarvan trying to get out there. How often do you hoover damage against this comp in a 5v5? Not that often. However, what do you have on your team? You have Aatrox with a stronger flank teleport, with timings, swooping in late, and a Galio controlling space. You can understand what that fight looks to, but if the fight goes how we're outlining it earlier, then you feel bad about the Hurricane. So if you're going to build Hurricane, it is an awesome item onto a Kai'Sa in the best case scenario, but a lot of conventional logic suggests these fights are going to be very tricky for Teddy to get full value out of the Hurricane.
See if he and the rest of his team can make it work as Gengo is soloing the Baron, guys. Can he do it?
I think the answer is looking like yes. They had to check it.
They spotted it. Wow.
You feel so pissed off. I'm going to say that out loud if you're Gengo. Because, like, really? I was soloing it. Everyone else was in vision.
I mean, he can do it.
That was pretty heads up from SKT.
Yeah, I know. Smart from them to actually check that one, especially with a lot of members on the map still. Trying to make it not look obvious maybe makes it look the most obvious. No unbreakable here.
That was a very next level. The best blue trinket you could imagine. One person. We didn't see how he entered the pit. He blast planted over and they checked it.
He must have, right?
That's just Bazinga right there. That's awesome from SKT.
Yeah. Faker's been really on point, I have to say. His trouble bubbles are big, and the damage, though, is not big as Faker goes wide on that one, picks up a flash from Score.
Oh, interestingly, both of them used flash in that play. Faker used his flash. I didn't see if it was the first Battle Star or the second, but was trying to get the damage in there. Didn't get it. I'm surprised that led to a trade of summoners. Score was for sure spamming his D key or F key during the revive there. As we know, I'm a noted Delasher.
He's not a Delasher.
Are you a Delasher?
No, of course not.
You're a Flasher?
Yeah.
I'm going to call the cops, man. No flashing on this stream.
You better call the cops on Score, too.
No, I refuse.
Flashed away. He lived with his flash, not his Delash. He is 4-0-3. Thank you very much.
Well, Score and Faker are the two old hands. Their summoners are down. Everything else in a pretty good spot all the way around. As you say, Faker's accuracy hasn't been so relevant because it's been those Galio, Braum, big frontline, I can't get any damage off moments.
Here we go again. I feel like I've seen this before. This time he's got to stop one. Faker is going to cleanse away from that one, but it's not going to be enough. As there you go. Gengo from downtown picks up the kill, and now it's going the way of KT. Fiora gonna pick up the next one, and Clid all alone in here, not able to do enough damage. Double kill to the Fiora, and that should be Baron.
They were baited by his accuracy, Valdez. It happens when you hit the skill shot you never thought you would, the hook that you couldn't accept onto the Amumu. They're on to Baron, and now SKT, they just have to push in a minion wave and hope because their Baron chances are 0.
Absolutely 0 as KT gonna pick it up here, and Gengo doing a little dance. Able to get another kill and even more gold into his pockets. That Draven getting real scary now.
And you know the Fiora that was behind? Then she got some kill involvements. Now she has Baron, and she always outscales Aatrox, so that's a bit of a scary side lane there. LS is so happy about this. Aatrox is primed to lose this game. We get the replay. Everything LS says comes true. Remember, on the 13th time, just like last time, Jeanette get involved indirectly in that Griffin woe. The stopwatch bait here is masterful. Master tier bait. Gengo from downtown gets another 900 cash in.
Another stopwatch saves BDD.
I gotta say, I feel like Gengo buys his lottery tickets. Draven is all about the lottery tickets. You're hoping for a payout. Comes out a second time. They're feeling pretty good. KT's loud during their practice every time. Smeb especially is the chief offender. How many times do we sit here for mic check and hear Smeb just hooting and hollering in practice games, and Snowflower and friends around them? KT know they're in a huge advantage and everyone can read it. 9,000 gold, Infernal, Baron, and their Draven. You count stopwatch as completed item, and it feels like one when it's used perfectly. That's 6 items.
Yeah. Today feels like a magical day for some reason. Genty 2-0ing him, and Mono, what are you doing, my friend? You're just gonna get dunked here.
Meanwhile,
find a guy on KT. He's not even on Team T1 as down goes Khan. From his World Ender has to back away, and everything is falling apart here for SKT.
oh, they're so far behind. Smeb just kind of dies. Whoops. They're going to get the mid lane turret from this. Smeb needed to be a little bit more aware of what was happening, but they're pushing 3 lanes. They're still getting plenty of these inhibitor turrets.
Baron pretty good when you're this far ahead as well, and well, 2 inhibitors going to be nice here. Can Faker and the rest of them find something on the backside? Teddy surely going to be looking for that moment. There he finds it, but he can't get the kill on a score.
And Gango is still frontlining, has to cleanse. Has the Knight's Vow on him. Clid trying to chase. Remember those outnumbered fights. Can be 5v4 with the hero's entrance available very shortly.
Clid just stalking them down the lane.
If they don't chase now, they probably straight up lose the game. It's right to chase and try to get a big play with Unburrow and also the hero's entrance.
Too late, everybody gets away, and well, KT lining their pockets. First time these 2 teams went head-to-head, SKT dunked them. 2-0 was not close, but today is a magical day. And KT on the backs of Draven on Gango are doing some really nice stuff.
Doing it Gango style, as this was some Oka Gango style moments right here. Just starts opening up, and what is a Galio to do? He just dies instantly because you made some mistakes. He cashed in twice. And when this man hits the lottery ticket twice, the pain and the result is death. Smeb chases on to Khan, and this is just, it's a nice riposte, but this matchup is so heavily in Fiora's style, even early game after the Aatrox nurse. It's level 18, he gets to riposte all day.
And then Smeb is like ultra overconfident, says, hey, I can 1v3. No, you can't. You're good against Aatrox, not against everybody else. Need a couple more items until you can do that on the Fiora. He's getting close.
There's no ointment to really take down KT if they're all together and playing even 50% of what they should be doing. It's so hard for them to do anything here. SKT, the Baron buff is not up, so at least the Zoe can poke a bit more reliably and wave clear more reliably, but you see KT roll up with this Draven and you walk away.
As well, BDD gonna have to ult himself there, looking, oh, nice double knock up here from Khan. He's going in, he wants this, in goes Teddy, he finds one, but a huge knockup from Score is immediately gonna shut that down, and Gango in the back line, gonna be very safe. Not much that SKT can do. Faker here, though, is still alive. Khan using everything in his toolkit, the World Ender, the GA, is going to make things interesting for just a moment.
And that's more than SKT get more often than not. They get 2 for 2 against KT at this point of power, but unfortunately the window to actually out-trade and for there to be an assassination backline is too late. The Draven has Guardian Angel Knight's Vow and is just too safe at the front, so they still end up taking down everything bar the last inhibitor of the game. After this is Nexus, best case scenario for SKT, and it required the trouble bubble, making BDD an afterthought in the fight. See Teddy getting the backline right. He gets in where he wants to be, and if we're earlier in the game and those castings never came out, he doesn't die. He does turn this around. The Hurricane does work, but you got to pay for the sins of your early game. Griffin just did, and they were denied a perfect season. There is still very, very unlikely chance that we see some epic outplays, or Smeb is not present at a 5v4, but if all 5 members are playing buddy system leapfrog, I don't see how KT lose a 5v5.
I mean, Gango didn't lose his GA, right? And Score still has his, so the potential for all-in engages and a Draven that just does not die and does insane crit damage onto anybody on that team now is very high.
I love how safe Teddy's TP was. It was onto a Rek'Sai tunnel, further back than even the red buff. Watching here, the positioning, getting the zoom out. BDD not spotted yet.
Oh, Faker could be in a lot of trouble here. You got the Lissandra right behind you, and down you go. Can't be roaming through the jungle. Smeb trying to go 1v3 again. Might be taken out here. Does have Snowflower. In goes Teddy trying to do that damage, but Gango is the ruler of that gang down on the bottom side. Now trying to go 1v3 himself. If there was anyone to do it, it would be him, but looks like SKT just going to back away, and now with KT in position, should take out another inhibitor.
KT have no incentive to actually fight SKT. They've got first access to first the inhibitor, and now the Nexus turrets.
Smith dashes into this one. with the home guard, and, well, SKT don't have much left. It's league a stopwatch here as everybody's getting chunked away. Rek'Sai is going to go invulnerable for just a moment, but KT, adding to the magical day, will get another knock-up and another kill into the Nexus, exploding 1-0 for KT.
Opposite day, and the LCK continues. It's not just a one-series phenomenon. The magic is in the air. KT Rolster 15 years ago in the first Telecom war won 2-0. We thought we might get the counterpoint in SKT 2-0 to make it two sides of the coin. But 15 years later, the last time SKT T1 as their full name take on KT, KT surprised them. The Draven shouldn't have been a surprise. Even the fans had the Draven signs ready for Gango.
Yeah.
The Gango comes in, plays the Draven, and will SKT do what Griffin didn't? They can just ban Draven in game number 2 and make him have to recreate the play away from the comfort of Gango's Draven.
For some reason, it feels like SKT are going to learn and they're going to ban this champ, but there's no greater insult than using T1's own champion up against T1. Gotta hand it to Gango and the KT squad.
I see what you did.
Really good stuff there.
I see what you did
from them as, well, I think you just can't let him get Draven, right? It's stupid.
Do SKT have to try to buy out Tyler 1 now that they are T1? That's a really interesting question.
Maybe.
That is some epic brand synergy right there.
Let's get them on the team. Why not?
They're signing streamers today. They announced a few in other games, so we'll leave that one out there. Very interesting game number 1. But in series number 1, we had to see the game 2 draft to know what it meant. This was really well run by KT, and if you ban Draven, it doesn't solve the scenario because the Draven was the benefactor of SKT taking a fight they shouldn't have taken, and then from there can uniquely snowball away with the cash out from the passive, but otherwise, SKT had an amazing first 8 to 10 minutes until that timestamp that you'll know from the VOD review. They don't know it yet. The coach will show them where things went from there, and KT ran away with it in impressive fashion. You can see it on the screen here. We'll call it 13 minutes. Maybe it was even later than that, but they got those 5 turret plates bot lane when Khan went for the pretty bold TP. And those 2 moments together were the invitation that KT attended, and they found a victory in a surprise fashion over SKT.
Definitely on paper is a surprise, but for some reason today, the Magic's in the air, and it was almost expected. You see Gango lock in the Draven, and you're like, well, this could be some spicy stuff. Now, they only won the 1 game. Can they take the series? Especially when SKT generally respond pretty well in the pick bans and ban out stuff they have to.
We'll get to find out very soon, Valdez. That's the best part.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to be back after